I mean, this is wild. This is happening right before they're going into Sphere. Aljo and Merab are almost getting a fight with a big crew of rabid Sean O'Malley fans. It must make it that much sweeter for Merab and Aljo to think about these specific guys and how upset they probably were after the main event, given what pricks they were to them here.
And got so much hype, and then he is the star of the card. Do you think that might have impacted him in any way?
These people, these journalists, and nothing against Aioli. Like, I think he's a good dude, good journalist, but it's unbelievable how many people who cover this sport do not understand the sport. It's a stupid question. It's a stupid question. Okay. Sean, like I just said, Sean did not just have some bad performance. That's not what happened. All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back. So we got to talk about Sean O'Malley, Merab, the new champion, obviously. Valentina gets her belt back, some other incredible fights. I got my account suspended on X because I posted a short clip of Aldana's face after the fight with caption, "Worst cut in UFC history." It got like 10 million views. And then I got blocked on X because I had shared graphic, violent, like injury content. That's how gnarly her cut was. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I obviously can't post it here. I thought on X you're allowed to do that stuff, but apparently not. But yeah, Dana White had some choice words for Sean O'Malley's performance, and we're gonna definitely look at that. And but first, I wanted to talk about one thing here, okay? I want to show you guys this clip of Alex Pereira. This is one of those clips that really demonstrates how immersive this show really was in the Sphere. And then I want to make a point about that related to the UFC because, first of all, Dana's saying that this was a record-breaking, $22 million gate, record-breaking gate. I have questions about that, and I also will just hypothesize around like how they're juking those stats, because I think they're juking those stats. I don't know, but I'm just going to hypothesize about it, and that is what we're going to do. And then I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff we need to talk about. But check this out, okay? First of all, look at how insane this is.
A heritage so ingrained in Mexico's identity, it's woven into the very fabric of the country. Only Mexico has a flag emblazoned with a fight. An eagle and a serpent.
Unbelievable. So initially I was going to talk about the show, the business, all this stuff around the real ticket sales, how this show actually did. But I'm going to start with the O'Malley and Merab fight and talk Valentina. And I'm going to talk about the card first, and then we're going to talk about the business and the show, because there's a lot to talk about there in the second part of the video. But first, I got to tell you about the sponsor of this video, because it's NFL Day, baby. Let me tell you about the sponsor of this video, PrizePicks. And guess what, dude? This is the best sponsor I've ever had, because you want to know what I have to do for my ads is I get to play the game. PrizePicks is the largest independently owned daily fantasy company in the world. And guess what? You want to know how creative this game is? All you do is you pick a handful of people you think are going to perform over or under the stat line that is given, and then you pick them. And if you pick 2 correctly in the same play, then you win X amount of dollars. And if you pick 3 correctly in the same play, you win X amount of dollars. You can play up to 6 people, and you can win a fortune if you get 6 people right. Now, Mike McDaniel is my boy, and thus I'm a Dolphins fan, so I'm making a lineup straight up Dolphins, okay? And as you can see over here, I already have 5 picks. I'm not going to walk you through every single one of them. Just believe me, here's what I'm going with. Tyreek Hill is going to go off. Go off. I know McDaniel. I know Tyreek had this problem this week. I know McDaniel is going to try to get him 200 yards and like 60 touchdowns. So I'm doing lots of picks that are like, yeah, Tyreek is going to go off. I'm putting $20 in play for this lineup, and I'll win $620 if all 6 of these hit. And guess what? Even if I don't hit 6, I still win a bunch of money if I hit 5. And if I hit 4, I get my money back. So go ahead and go to the link in the description and use code JesseOnFire to receive a guaranteed $50 once you play $5 in lineups. Once again, go to the link in the description, use promo code JesseOnFire to receive a guaranteed $50 once you play $5 in lineups. Okay, so here's the deal, dude. I'm just going to say what I feel, okay? I am not a Gamrot fan, okay? I'm sure he's an amazing guy. I've heard nothing but good things about him as like a person, but watching him fight makes my eyes bleed, because I already know that he is going to try to take the person down and just wear them out with his incredible wrestling, Okay. Now, is there something wrong with that being the way that you approach mixed martial arts? No, of course not. That's the whole entire purpose of mixed martial arts. Is it's a fight, and you can use any martial art, any fight skill that you've developed over your lifetime, right? And so there, of course, is no rule against, just being an exceptional wrestler and people not being able to deal with that, But the thing about that is if that's all you're doing, and I mean, if that is literally all you're doing is using wrestling, and you're not even really trying to hurt the guy, you're not even really trying to hurt the guy, that's not a very exciting way to go about fighting in the UFC, okay? And Gamrot actually, I think, is trying to hurt guys. It's just his skill set is just so wrestle heavy, and it's just not really in his wheelhouse. Like, hurting guys is not really his thing. Merab is literally not even trying to hurt guys. Okay? That's my honest assessment of watching him fight. He's not even trying to hurt them. Like, he goes in there, his goal is not to land a bunch of punches and knock them out or whatever, or submit them. He is literally just going gas tank on gas tank. He's like, I will wear you out. And I can't say enough how much I hate watching that style. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Okay? Now, I have enough experience in athletics and in any other, to respect what it means when a guy is using their gas tank against people. It means they train harder than anyone else. Okay? I mean, yes, there are people who are gifted in that, in that category, but much more likely is that he figured out at a very early age that if he grinds, that his body will become conditioned to whatever he puts it through, right? And so he just is one of those guys that has put his body through absolute hell on earth every day since he made that realization. And thus, his body is conditioned to literally just go forever because he'll do 1 billion rounds. He's like Strickland. Strickland's body is conditioned like that because he loves to spar so much. That's all he wants to do. So he would rather be sparring than doing literally any other thing in the entire world. So, it's a good addiction to have if you want to be a professional fighter, is that you just want to spar 1 billion rounds. There's never a sparring round that is like a chore for him where he's like, oh God, I got to do one more. He would never feel that way. Thus, he is in incredible condition. And I respect that, obviously, because it really represents like a lifetime of work. And it also represents, in my opinion, what should be a deciding factor in most fights, which is who worked harder and who worked smarter. In his case, harder, smarter he's figured out a recipe that works to win. He's won 11 in a row, 10 of which were by decision. The only one that was not was Marlon Moraes, who was a knockout bot by then. No offense to Marlon Moraes, obviously, but his chin was gone. So, like 10 decisions, 10 decisions. Like, if you take that one out, it's 10 straight decisions. And that's what he's trying to do. He's not even trying to finish the fight. You know what I mean? It's very frustrating to watch. Which is a great segue into watching Dana White's comments on the co-main event and the main event of this card, because I have a feeling that Dana is pretty upset about or unhappy with how things shook out last night in that main event. Because again, Merab is the exact opposite. The literal quintessential worst possible pay-per-view draw you could ever have. Ever. The absolute worst. If Sean O'Malley's the best, maybe if he smoked a little bit less weed, and was but like basically in terms of fight style and fight skills, Sean O'Malley's the best you could ever ask for. Merab's the worst. The absolute worst. Anyway, so let's listen to what Dana White said and we'll discuss.
And I want, Valentina's strategy was effective, but it kind of sucked the life out of the room. How disappointing was that to see that fight and sort of just, you could hear a pin drop as they were fighting?
You can put on $20 million worth of production, but you can't control the fights. They're going to be what they are. So I cannot let that drive me crazy.
And then just your thought on the main event.
First of all, I did not think the Valentina fight was boring, for the record. And again, like I'm about to say that the Merab fight made me want to like just jab like I don't know, pencils through my eyes. But they're different. They are not the same. Okay? They were not the same. Valentina was executing a game plan that did include striking, and it was all about timing those takedowns. You know, I mean, it sounds like I'm describing the Merab fight, but also Alexa Grasso had very, very dangerous jiu-jitsu off of her back. Like, that fight to me was exciting, you know, because there were people threatening finishes. I don't care if they're grappling. Like, I don't have any issue with people who want to grapple. It's about people trying to finish the fight, attempting to finish the fight, moving from one position to another to set up a submission. Like Valentina, who was trying to set up the head and arm triangle the entire time. At least, dude, she's trying to set that up. Alexa Grasso off her back attempted tons of submissions. She's very, very flexible and very, very good. Her jiu-jitsu is very good, dude, Alexa Grasso. But like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the difference. They're trying to finish the fight. Merab is not. Let's continue.
And I mean, it seemed like an odd beginning there with Merab calling timeout, and you know, I guess there was a kiss apparently.
Well, no, he didn't call timeout. What happened was Merab and O'Malley's corner were screaming at each other the whole beginning of the fight. They were yelling at each other back and forth, and then Herb Dean stepped in and told them to knock it off. Yeah, and then the kissing in the back and standing up and walking away before the bell, that I have no idea. Merab does some shit. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. When Merab kissed it, and then not the kissing thing. I've seen there's fighters do that stuff all the time. The grapplers love doing that, dude. The grapplers love to do that. Randy Couture spanking Tito on his little booty. You know, that's the ultimate own from the grappler guys, is because they're like, you know, they've got a dude in a position where he can't do anything. You know, you have him like wrapped up or, you know, they can't do anything. They can't escape the position that they're in. And so it's like, oh, come here, little baby. They've seen that a million times, dude. Like that move, you've seen a million times. Getting up after doing that with 4 seconds left in the round and just walking away, that I've never seen. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if Sean would have knocked Merab out, like, that's completely legit. That's 100% legit. And in terms of like Sean didn't do anything wrong. The round's not over. And you kissed it, you showboated and then got up with another 5 seconds left. He's lucky that he didn't get knocked out right there. I don't know what he was doing. Like, that was weird, man. That was very, very bizarre. And I will just reiterate before we get into this part where Dana's going to start saying, you know, that saying some things about Sean O'Malley's performance, that Sean O'Malley has been my favorite fighter to watch since before he got the 2-year injury. Okay. Like, that guy, since the first time I watched him, I'm like, that's my guy in terms of like his style of fighting and his execution of that style is my favorite of all time. I love watching him fight. I absolutely love watching Sean O'Malley fight. He's my favorite fighter to watch, period. So I did take this extra personal, you know, when you have basically my absolute least favorite fighter to watch beating my favorite fighter to watch, which just means I'm going to get to see less of Sean O'Malley because, you know, at least in the near term, he's probably not going to be fighting in 5-round fights. And, you know, it's just like, God, it's disappointing. I mean, it's nothing against Merab personally, just his fight style, man. Lay and pray. I mean, straight up, is anybody going to actually try to argue with me that lay and pray is not what he does? I mean, like, you know, yeah, he'll grab their neck, whatever, threaten a submission, but not really threaten a submission. He just wants to wear them out, you know, just make them tired, you know, make them tired. It's just like, oh, God.
It was weird, but not shocking.
His performance was what everybody would have expected. Were you disappointed with Sean? You know, Sean had fire in that last little bit when he was throwing those body kicks, but you didn't seem to see that fire from Sean maybe throughout that you might have expected.
I don't disagree with you. He looked flat. He didn't look sharp. He didn't look crisp and until the last round. He hurt him with that body shot. He knew he hurt him with the body shot, and he kept going in and trying to finish. But, yeah, I don't agree. I mean, I looked at the punch stats. He's like 6 in a couple of the rounds. So,
I mean, listen, dude. O'Malley is a sniper. Like, that's what O'Malley is. He's a sniper. Okay? This is the worst stylistic matchup for him possible. Because Merab is not going to seriously engage in any striking with Sean. He's not going to. He doesn't fancy himself as a striker. He doesn't think of himself as like, you know, oh, I have top level striking skills, so let me test myself against Sean. That's not what he's doing. Okay? He's never going to really commit to a strike that is unsafe, you know, because he's not trying to knock them out. What's the point of taking the risk if your purpose in there is not to knock the other guy out? He's not trying to knock Sean out. He's got 10 straight decisions on purpose. So if he's not going to commit, then Sean doesn't have anything to really work with. You know, I mean, Sean did fine. Like, he landed good shots. But I mean, you know, like, all Merab is doing on the feet is just waiting to set up a takedown, which is why Sean cannot, you know, really let his hands go or let his feet go, whatever. Like, he has to be super, super defensive every time he throws a strike, because if Merab gets his hands around his waist, then guess what? You're going down to the mat and you're probably not getting up for the rest of the round, you know? So, I mean, obviously Sean did get up a couple times, but I'm just saying, like, Sean didn't look flat to me. Sean looked like he was in a very, very tough stylistic matchup. You know, he was doing great at the beginning. He was touching him up, but the second Merab started timing him a little bit and then getting those takedowns, obviously the fight went the way that it went. But like, I don't know, dude. I did not, Sean didn't look flat to me at all. He just looked like a person who is trying to execute a game plan against the absolute worst stylistic matchup you can possibly have for him.
You feel like, I don't know if you can put your finger on why he performed the way he did, but you know, there was so many expectations on him, and this card was built and got so much hype, and then he is the star of the card. Do you think that might have impacted him in any way?
These people, these journalists, and nothing against Aioli, like, I think he's a good dude, a good journalist, but these people don't, like, it's unbelievable how many people who cover this sport do not understand this sport. It's a stupid question. It's a stupid question. Okay, Sean, like I just said, Sean did not just have some bad performance. That's not what happened. Merab, as much as I want to shit on Merab's style, Merab did that to O'Malley. That's because of Merab, why Sean performed that way. If Sean was fighting a different fighter, you have a completely different impression. On the same night, exactly the same fighter walks into the octagon, but he's fighting someone else. You have a completely different impression of how he fought. Merab did that to him. That's a fact. That's an absolute fact. So I hate that question from Aioli because I think it minimizes Merab's impact on Sean. And if I'm being unclear about this, I was rooting for Sean. And I am upset that the fight went the way that it did because now Merab's the champion. And it's like, oh my God. Yay. Yay. Hey, who's fighting at bantamweight? You're all Merab's fighting. You're all, yay. Takedown. You know? But make no mistake about it. His efficiency and how good he is wrestling once he gets on top, once he gets the takedown, that is why O'Malley performed the way that he did. Let's see what Dana had to say about Aioli's comments, though.
You'd have to ask him that. I don't know the answer to that question, but I think that he's one of those kids that lives for moments like this. I mean, this is what he's all about. He's that guy. I think that I don't know if he just got in there tonight and felt flat. Some nights it's just is what it is.
So here's another thing that I am just now, as of this moment, noticing. Okay. So Dana has a tell. He's a poker player, right? Or I guess blackjack, but let's just for this metaphor, he's a poker player. He has a tell. Dana has a tell. Okay. When someone wins the belt that he wants to win the belt, he will talk about that guy's performance. Okay. When the guy he wanted to win does not win, he talks about that guy being flat. Okay. I just noticed that right now. Israel Adesanya against Sean Strickland. I mean, Sean Strickland had an incredible performance. Israel Adesanya arguably may have underestimated him a little bit, but nonetheless, like he got the brakes beat off of him by an incredible fighter who just completely nullified all of Izzy's weapons, right? And what was Dana talking about in the press conference? He's like, Izzy looked slow. He didn't look sharp at all. He was flat. I don't know what happened, because he really wanted Izzy to win that fight. And then we know for 100% sure that he really wanted Izzy to win that fight because that was setting up the DDP fight. But and in this case, obviously they want O'Malley to win, And it's like O'Malley looked flat. It's like, dude, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I think I'm certainly not saying I know the sport better than Dana. I'm saying Dana's an emotional guy like me. And so I can recognize a thing like that where like my emotions will cloud my interpretation of things. And like, this is the kind of thing I would do. And someone would point it out to me. I'd be like, nah, dude. And then I would go back and be like, fuck, I do that, But, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine anybody who's in the combat sports business would be stoked to have Merab as the champion instead of O'Malley.
And then finally, where does this night rank in your greatest nights since you work with UFC? Because given everything you pulled off and given, except for the last two fights, it was an unbelievable night of fights. I mean, where does it rank in your pantheon of great nights?
Yeah.
Hang on. I have to say before he answers this that you have to watch this knowing that they started off with the ticket prices starting at $3,200. And ultimately, you ended up being able to buy those seats for $650. That is a failure. I don't care. Like, listen, I hope I'm doing I hope I'm doing a good enough job. No, I am not hating on the UFC is the most incredible organization. Oh, actually, I realize the next portion is when I talk about the business. Okay, and so I've already recorded it. Spoiler. I am going to be singing the praises of the UFC in a way that my thoughts cannot be misinterpreted. The UFC is the most incredible combat sports promotions company in the history of the world by 100 miles. There's no one even close. No one even close. But this was a very, very rare time where things did not go the way that they hoped that they would. So whatever Dana's answer is here, I am telling you right now, this did not pan out the way that he had hoped, because if you set the prices for the tickets at $3,200 and they end up going for $650, that is not good. You know what I mean? But I'll talk about that. I'll talk about why that happened after he answers too.
It's right up there with COVID. I mean, going through COVID was really tough, challenging, and then this is the same thing. We didn't have enough time to pull this event off. We didn't have enough time to rehearse this event. We spent shitloads of money on the production, and now when I kept telling you guys, I'm in this thing 17 million, I'm in this thing 20 million. You get the 20 million now, right? I mean, you saw it tonight. I mean, this is as good as the production quality in this building tonight was off the charts. And the thing that made this so, told you this was meant to happen, and doing Mexican Independence Day in the Sphere, you're actually telling a story. There's a story to be told rather than just fights. Because if you just do fights on a regular fight night, somebody came up to me and said, this is so fucking awesome. You got to do 4th of July now for America.
Oh my God.
But
oh my God. I would pay $3,000 for that. I'll pay $3,000 for that all day. All day.
But the point is, there's stories to be told, and this was the perfect place to tell Mexican Independence Day story.
Last question for me,
So here's the thing: is like, this is okay. So the show was incredible, and it actually came off through the television too. How incredible it was inside the Sphere. But here's the thing: at the end of the day, right? People didn't know what it was going to be. Most people have not been to the Sphere, okay, and also it's like $3,200. I don't even understand, like for the nosebleeds. And ultimately people pay high prices for the fight card. That is why people pay a lot to go to a show. This was a one of one. So people have no idea. It's not like you had put on a Sphere show last year and it was the most unbelievably mind-blowing thing ever. That's not the case. This was a new thing, right? And so people didn't really understand what they're paying for. And I had major FOMO yesterday. Like my kids had a jiu-jitsu tournament, so I didn't go to Sphere. That is legitimately the only reason I didn't go, especially when the tickets were only, $600-$700 by the end. But like, so my kids fought, and then we were driving home, and it was, a few hours before the show was going to start, and I started hearing all this stuff about the Sphere. It was, oh my God, you can't even believe the Sphere. And I was driving over to Dallas with my wife. I'm like, God, I should have gone. But the FOMO dissipated very quickly once the show actually started. And I remembered, it's like, okay, yeah, these are incredible graphics, but it's still a UFC card, Like, obviously, I would rather be there than not there, but it's still just a UFC card. You know what I mean? Like, the graphics, unbelievable. But are you going to pay $3,200? I mean, again, we're talking nosebleeds. The other ones were much more expensive. Are you going to pay that much to watch a show about the history of warfare in Mexico? No, it's amazing. Like, the show is incredible, but you would never pay that price for that. You know what I mean? Like, you never pay that. The ticket price is justified by the fight card. That's where this went sideways. And listen, dude, they spent enough money. This is a once in a lifetime thing. They charge whatever prices that they want. All right, now let's take a look at this altercation between Aljamain and Merab and these O'Malley fans, and then we'll talk about the business, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
Block me on Instagram.
Yo, Aljo.
Aljo, once you accept the loss from Sean, you'll be a lot better in life.
Fuck his piece of shit.
Aljo.
Let's go. It's still pussy.
Let's go, baby.
That's why you'll never have gold.
You ain't winning shit tomorrow.
Well, that didn't really pan out, did it? That makes me like Merab, dude. That made me like Merab a lot. They talk trash to Aljo, and he literally is ready to jump in there and go fight these guys. That I like, dude. I like that a lot. Impressive. Nothing gets me in the feels like a guy who's willing to go fight 100 people because they said something negative to his boy. You know what I mean? Like, think about what this show actually represents when you think about it in the context of all these other conversations that we have. Okay, CJI, Craig Jones Invitational just happened for any of you guys who are, I mean, everybody knows about CJI. And everybody's like, man, they put on an incredible show. And they did. CJI was a great show. Really, really great show. But look at what UFC does, man. Okay? Look at what they do. That UFC put that show on. They did that with the Sphere. They spent $20 million to create that show in the Sphere environment or whatever. There has never been a fight promotion organization that has even come close to the UFC's level. Like, the UFC is the best combat sports promotion by 100 miles. There is no one in the conversation. It's not even like, it's just not even close. And they deserve credit for that. And I know there's always the, fighter pay. Yeah, I know. But the thing is, the UFC's pay structure and how they do things has enabled it to grow the sport and put on shows like this. You know what I mean? Like, it's a give and take, because people who are up and coming fighters, they'll take this deal all day. You know what I mean? Like, they'll take the deal at UFC. Oh, I get to be a famous UFC fighter, and it's like, and you're gonna make $160,000 if you win the fight. And they're like 80 and 80. They're like $160,000 if I win. They're all, yeah, I'm in, dude. It's like, all right, cool. It's not like they don't understand the terms of the deals, right? And I'm just picking 80 and 80 as like a middle road. If you reach even like tiny bit of success in the UFC. So is that unfair? It's a much more complicated conversation than people realize. You know, it just is. So I want to look into the gate numbers, which Dana said was 22 million, and I want to see how that stacks up against reality, because I think they might have been cooking those numbers, because that doesn't even make sense to me, right? Because I know those tickets were not selling. I know those tickets weren't selling. And it's not because it wasn't a great show. It's because they reached too high when they set the ticket prices. And once you've done that and you start bringing tickets down, you know, the prices down, it's not necessarily a great look. But let me, I want to look into this a little bit and let's see if they cook the books on this or if it's something else. Okay, never mind. So when I said that I thought the UFC might have been doing some shenanigans on the live gate and the ticket sales, I'll tell you exactly what I meant. And now that I actually did the math, they actually did not. I don't think they did actually juke the numbers, because what I was saying is $22 million gate, when we all know the tickets were not selling for this show. Bottom line, okay? They were not selling. And all you had to do is go on the secondary market to be able to see that, because on the secondary market, like StubHub and all that, the tickets were, I mean, they were going for $650. Okay. Tickets that were $3,300 when they first came on the market were going for $650. Okay. I mean, I've never seen that before for a UFC event. I mean, that is the definition of supply and demand. There just wasn't enough demand to support those prices. And so they keep coming down. Now, the question I had always was, I was like, how are there this many tickets available for sale? Because there were so many tickets available on StubHub. So what I was going to say is, I'm like, I think the UFC might be buying their own tickets and then reselling them on StubHub, because I'm sure that there's money in that normally. You know what I mean? But when I actually did the math, and it's like 22 million gate, that actually only came out to a little under 1,300 per ticket. So that actually probably is legit. But it has to be a disappointment when you set the prices at 33. Like, if you just got an average of 3,200, it's a $54 million gate. And that was just the cheapest seats. So, I mean, they really went for it on this one. And they spent $20 million on it, $22 million gate. I have no idea what they did on the pay-per-view, but I would imagine they at least broke even,